Hey guys, Phil Montgomery. The scenario here is I got a small hive on top. It's 2 frames of bees. It's got about 1.5 frames of brood. So it was a split that I made last year. It's doing good. I'm looking to boost it. Underneath, I got a double screen board. Underneath that, I have a bigger hive. So I just checked this one. I made sure their hive was made correctly. They were kind of honey blocked. It went brood, 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 honey. When that happens, they can't expand no farther. So that's a beekeeper's job, is to keep that from happening. The hive underneath of here is a bit moody. Sometimes it'll be nice, sometimes not. So I got my bee jacket on. I've gotten to the point I don't necessarily wear a jacket a lot, especially when I think I just don't wear a jacket a lot. I don't enjoy it. And I got most of my bees are pretty nice, so I don't have to typically. But every now and then I do get stung. And part of beekeeping, it's probably good. It keeps my immune system right for the bees. I laid the top hive over here. It has a lid with some reflectix on it. Most of the beehives now are done eating the hard sugar, and every beehive I've gotten into has eaten all their pollen, no matter how much I gave them. So I need to give them more pollen. I'm taking this sugar away. I haven't had any disease problems, so I'll probably end up community feeding them. This is a swarm that I caught, and it can be grumpy. Sometimes really cool, and then other times not so. It's cloudy, it's windy, feels like it might rain, and just never know about this hive here. So I have about 2 frames of brood on the top. 2 frames of bees on the top. Taking the sugar away. I'm going to give them a feeder today, and I'm going to see if they have any bees that I can rob to go ahead and give to that little hive on top. I'm looking for emerging brood. Up here, there's pretty well nothing, and all of a sudden I have a lot of bees, less. That tells me there may be brood right here. I'm going to be taking out 2 frames, and I want to make sure that the queen's in the bottom if I can. This is 3rd week of March. The scenario I'm dealing with here is early spring started off great, and then it got real cold, so we had a lot of foliage pop. All the real early stuff popped, and then it got burned off by the weather in the teens. All the flowers got burned up. Then it's rebloomed, and that's where I find myself today. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm writing what this is. So this is a pollen frame. What I've learned, if you shake the bees off, a lot of times that ticks them off. So I'm willing to do it, but only if I have to. So I got pollen all the way on the outside, and this right here is going to be honey. Typically want my pollen on the inside of the honey. There's more pollen. This has got a whole lot of pollen sub in here. Yeah, this is all pollen sub. I'll put on there PS. Do a quick look, make sure I don't see that queen. So I'm going to be taking 2 frames out of here because I'm putting in a frame feeder. The reason I'm doing that is it's more pollen sub. It's almost all pollen sub. So it's nothing natural up here, it's pollen sub. They did that because I probably put the pollen sub on the top. So they just stored it real close. Gotta watch. Most time queens are where they're supposed to be. Not always. When they start coming after my hive tool a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and hit them with just a little bit of smoke. You want to hit your bees with the least amount of smoke possible. That's more or less a little bit of everything. So whatever pollen sub I have, they did store it. That means they desire to have pollen. They're coming after my hive tool a bit. You can also look down through and figure how many bees you have. This is a little bit of honey, mostly empty. And over here is nectar and empty. So this is a real good one to have. I'm gonna put in here nectar and empty on this one. So put the nectar on the outside, the empty on the inside. So I'm gonna have, nectar means open. I'm gonna have that. That's a good one. That's a good one to put against the brood. When they're all looking at you and they start responding to your hive tool, it's not a bad thing to just kiss them a little smoke. This should be brood right here. You gotta be careful. This could be the queen on here. Just like I thought, there's eggs. Now looking for my queen real quick. Because she could be on here because this is all eggs. You want to try to mark your queens as early in the season as you can. Because the more bees you get, the harder they are to see. I see drones now. 1, 2. 2 drones on that side. So this is a real good one to put next to that empty. See, they had the pollen right next to it, so what I did, I turned it around, put the pollen on the other side and put an empty towards them. That way the queen can lay there. I'm looking for a small thing of cat brood so I can give it to that hive on top. So far there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a lot of bees in here. This is mostly what I'm looking for. See how many drones are here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a lot of drones out now. There's a whole lot of drones. So what I like to do, I don't want to give them all the bees and I don't want to miss my queen. So I'm gonna look at the sideboards, make sure nobody's there. I'm gonna take a whole bunch of those bees off of there. And what I want to do, I want to give them some bees, but not a whole big bunch of them. I want to make sure I don't miss my queen and mess up my production hive. So see, I still have bees. It has a little bit too much open brood. But I'm gonna go ahead and it has this other side's almost all open brood, which is not really what I want. But I know they're kicking butt. And I don't want to have them get too big too fast. I just lay that in there. Any bee wants to fly away, they can. Now I'm looking for some more bees. I never want to take them where there's a whole bunch of bees. That was it. They just had 2 frames of brood. This is all nectar and pollen. So I'm going to look real good for my queen. I needed to take out 2 anyway, but this is mostly pollen and empty. Oh, it's mostly nectar on one side, pollen and empty on the other. So I'm looking real good for my queen. I want to take about half these bees off here. You shake them real light, a whole bunch of the flyers will come off. That gives you less bees to look at. See, I'm down to that now. That gives you less bees to look at to make sure you don't move your queen. I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you need to get the younger bees that are on your brood comb, but I don't want to take a chance of losing my queen. So I shake them a couple times. When you're looking for queens, always look in these cracks. This is where the queen's almost always going to go. They're going to go in the crack to hide. I think they have two thoughts. One is make babies, and two is survive. Other bees a lot of times won't pay you no attention. The queens will pay you attention. They'll turn and look and run away. They're smart. I think they think way more than a worker bee does. A worker bee has one thought, maybe attack, get food, clean, whatever. They have one thought. I think a queen has two or three thoughts. One is make babies, and two is survive. So I don't see my queen in here nowhere. It helps to look twice because you just never know. I've moved queens from box to box, and then they just kill them. One goes queenless, and they die whenever you put them. So after I've checked it 2 or 3 times where I'm comfortable, really check it, really look. I've done this before. All of a sudden, there goes a freaking queen. One of the ways you can tell they don't know what's going on, they're starting to flutter their wings. That means they're running low on pheromones. They don't know what's going on. They're like, what's going on? Where's their queen? What's going on? Okay. Now what I'll do, I'm going to put it in my box. I'm just going to leave the lid off of it. So I only have one more frame of brood. So I have brood, and then I have empty, and then I have pollen. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to count how many frames of bees I have. That whole box in the bottom is almost full. So I'm going to center that box. And so I have pollen, empty, brood, empty. There's a double empty. So I got an empty on both sides of those eggs. And then what I'll do is I'll grab the best. I'm going to put my feeder in. Oh man, fell over. I'm going to put it in here. So now what I need to do is just move these over. I need to take a quick peek and see what I have here. The bottom box has 7 frames of bees in it. I can see that from the top. There's more pollen and nectar. Okay, so that's good, and that's good. So I got food. So I'm going to get another 2 empties and put it here because I know these guys are going to be growing. One of these here was pretty empty. That one's pretty full. That one's fairly full. That one's about half. So here's a pollen frame. It's pollen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put pollen here. I'm going to move these over. I'm going to take this food frame. So almost all my boxes I'm going to do the same way, or try to. You know, they pretty much have the same stuff in them. All right, so I'm going to put this on the outside. Now I'm going to grab me 2 more empties. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, kind of like that one. All right, so they got all kinds of pollen. Okay, so how many I got now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to get 1 more empty. Sorry about that. So what I've done is I have not disturbed the bees in the bottom. But here's how my box is lined out. It's stores, pollen and half empty, or I'm sorry, empty, brood, empty, empty, pollen, sugar. And then on this side, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put in my feeder. So my feeder, I'm gonna put it in here. This is a Pure Co feeder. The man lakes I have was so daggone expensive. They're like 16, 17 bucks. You can buy, I bought one of these for like 8 something. I have a lot of beehives. I have 25 hives and I'm on my way to 200. So you got to save some money. Plus it's a simple dimple piece of plastic. I mean, it ain't no way that stinking thing's worth $17. I put a bunch of blocks from where I do woodworking. This here is a little bit less than 1 to 1. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a gallon of feed. And then what I want to do, I'm gonna give them pollen sub, and I want to put in some sticks like this that they can climb up here. Now the one thing I should have done while I was in the bottom, I should have dropped this pollen sub in there. This is a big hive. This is about 9 frames of bees. I didn't get it. Sometimes I get all the way in the bottom, but these guys are grumpy. So if I can get in here and get out of here and get what I need to have done, I stole some brood and feed them and get everything taken care of and don't get anybody riled up, I'm fine with that. So there's less brood on the top, more in the bottom. I don't like to wear the gloves, but I've learned to wear these plastic gloves until I see a queen, because pollen sub, it's kind of goopy like. It's better if you make it cold, if you put it in the fridge for just a little bit, the freezer or whatever. But this stuff sticks to your hands, and then when you try to grab a queen, it sticks to them, and that ain't good. It can mess their wings up. So a goodly amount of it I'm gonna put up here on top, just about a third. And then what I'm gonna do down here on the bottom, this stuff's expensive. This is global pollen patties with 15% real pollen, but they like it. Last year I bought stuff with 5% pollen. They liked it too. So I just bought it because I wanted to give them the best chance I could to get a start this year. I like breaking this up in little pieces. This gives more bees the opportunity to eat on the outside. They'll either eat underneath of it or they will eat at the sides of it. They don't typically eat on the top of it. So what I'll do, I'm gonna take this, and this is the dangerous part with a grumpy hive. I'm gonna open up the bottom and I'm gonna fling a lot of this stuff in there. I should have done it when I had these frames off. I could have just dropped it down, but I didn't. Wish me luck. Most of my bees are super great. These are grumpy. I just painted all of my hives that were, I didn't even change boxes. I just painted them where they sat. And that made the boxes stick together. I ain't a bit afraid to smoke these rascals. These guys will turn on you in a heartbeat. They're great bees, productive bees, but they're not necessarily the nicest bees. So I won't breed off them this year. This right here is designed to just give them something to climb up. Bees don't swim real good; they'll easily drown. And because I have the pollen sub on the top, I have a raise in my double screen board underneath. Uh-oh. Yeah, here they go. So that's fair. I put this back on top, line it up real nice, and then I mean I can't be mad at them. I was in there talking on YouTube video, so YouTube makes you spend longer than you would normally. Longer you spin, the more grumpy they're going to be. So these guys, I'm going to give some brood to these guys. They're doing really well. So I know where the empties are. Just put them in there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take out a couple frames. One frame. That's an empty. And then you do not want to put the new bees where the queen is. So I'm going to take a peek real quick. You don't want to put all those new bees right next to your queen. I don't see her. That's cat brood there. Let's see what I got here. All right, I was just looking to make sure the queen wasn't there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Honey Be Healthy, like a tablespoon. I don't know, I put about a tablespoon in this little thing. What I'm going to do, I'm not putting a ton of it on them, but these bees coming in here, I will. These are the bees that could maybe kill your queen. I'm going to look for the queen one more time. I've done this before and said, oh crap, there she is. Sometimes when you work on a lot of hives, if you don't keep track, you'll find a queen, you're like, I don't know where she goes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray these guys a fair amount with Honey Be Healthy. I'm not going to totally drench them, but I'm going to give them a goodly amount of it. This is I'm just going to shake these dudes in here. So I've dispersed them, and they got all that stuff sprayed on them. Here's the brood. The Honey Be Healthy is like glue. So you don't want to totally drench them or else they won't be able to move. All right, so you put the biggest thing of brood on the inside. And I'm gonna hit these guys with it too. Bob Benny says once everybody's licked each other off, they're all sisters. So it makes sense to me. So I mark these brood, brood, brood. All right, so now I have some bees over here that I took out of the other hive. Once again, check for my queen. I'm gonna do the same thing to these guys. I'm gonna spray them with Honey Be Healthy. And I'm gonna shake them in the box. This kind of spreads them out. It doesn't let them work as a unit. See, these can't even fly. They're like, oh man, I got all that sugar on me. So it spreads them out, forces them to assimilate better. They're not all in a big gang or group. So what I've done is I've taken about a frame of bees, maybe a little bit less, and a probably half a frame to half a frame of brood, and I give it to these guys. Oh, and you silly one, that one's stuck down in a hole. So now I have pulled back the bottom hive, give them more empty, and then the top hive I have built them up. Now what I'm going to do, I'll give them more pollen sub. Make sure your frames are always squeezed together. Try, when you're doing this, try not to leave a space big enough for a bee to crawl in between. That way your queen don't get in there and get squished. You're going to kill a queen from time to time. That's why it pays to have more than one hive. Just crap happens, man. Sometimes when you're trying to help, you hurt. Just part of it. So they got plenty of food. They just got another half frame of bees and a half frame brood. So this one in another week or so will be up to 3 or 4 frames of bees. I still have 5 weeks to go before honey season. So who knows? Thanks for watching. I've now just hit over 80,000 views. I've only been doing it. Last year was my first year. If you would subscribe and share it and like it, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'll help you any way I can. It's Phil Montgomery from Ohio. Be blessed.